They say the safest roads are the ones already drawn for you. The traveler believed that for most of his life. So whenever he moved from one place to another, the map stayed close to his hands, folded carefully, protected from rain, opened more often than the sky above him. And for a long time, it worked. The roads matched the paper. The turns made sense. Every direction felt certain before he even took the first step. Until one morning, the road stopped agreeing. At first, it was small. A path marked clearly on the map ended in broken stone and overgrown grass. The traveler paused, checked the paper again, then looked at the road ahead as if reality itself had made a mistake. Further ahead, a wooden sign pointed east, while the map insisted west. A man repairing a cart nearby noticed his hesitation. "You won't get through the Western Pass anymore," the man said calmly. "Storm took part of the road last winter." The traveler nodded politely, then continued west anyway, because the map said the road still existed. The higher he climbed, the less familiar the world became. Fog swallowed distant landmarks. Rain softened the ink at the edges of the paper. The trail narrowed into mud and stone. But still, he unfolded the map again and again, searching for the version of the world that used to make sense. At times, other travelers passed him moving in different directions. None of them seemed certain. And strangely, none of them seemed afraid either. But every time uncertainty pressed against him, his hands tightened around the map a little more, as if holding it harder could force the world back into place. Days passed that way. Wrong turns. Dead ends. Long circles that returned him to places he thought he had already left behind. Yet he never considered abandoning the map. Not truly. Because what others couldn't see was that years earlier, when he was younger and completely alone, a map very much like this one had once saved his life. Back then, it had guided him out of freezing mountains after days without direction. Since then, certainty had become more than comfort. It became protection. And slowly, protection became dependence. The traveler sat one evening beneath weak lantern light, staring at the worn paper spread across his knees. Rain tapped softly against the roof above him. The map was no longer clean now. The corners had torn. Ink had faded. Entire sections no longer matched the roads outside. Still, he could not fold it away, because without it, he no longer trusted himself to move forward. The next morning, the fog was heavier than before. Visibility barely reached beyond a few steps. The traveler stopped at a fork in the road and opened the map again, though the moisture had blurred most of the markings into pale shadows. For the first time, frustration crossed his face. Not anger. Fear. He looked from the paper to the hidden roads ahead, then back again, and quietly, almost unwillingly, he realized something that had been following him for far longer than the journey itself. The map was no longer guiding him. It was deciding for him. A distant sound interrupted the silence. Voices. Warm light flickering faintly through the fog somewhere beyond the trees. Other travelers, moving forward without certainty. The traveler stood still for a long moment. Then slowly, he folded the map. Not throwing it away, not rejecting it, just lowering it enough to finally see the road in front of him. And for the first time in a very long while, he walked without needing to know exactly where every step would lead. Because sometimes, the hardest thing to release is the thing that once made you feel safe. Thank you for sharing this quiet moment. If you feel drawn to walk this path of reflection and quiet wisdom, you're welcome to stay. In another quiet story, two voices sit in the dark, trying to understand a change they cannot yet see.